It happened right behind my house. The late summer sun was still shining, its golden light glowing across my backyard. I could taste the salty sweat dripping onto my lips. My legs shook as I gripped the rough edge of our half-broken fence. His big hands were so steady, but they explored me like a man who had waited years for this moment. I felt him press against me from behind, his body thick and demanding. I didn't resist, I couldn't. My white dress was already lifted. My panties rolled around my waist, dangling from one ankle. He groaned in my ear, deep and hungry, and I whispered his name like a confession. I felt every stretch of him inside me, pounding, dominating, unforgettable. When I finally drained him, my knees gave out. I had just committed the worst betrayal of my life with my black neighbour, Caleb. And the worst part, I wanted more. Before I dive into this raw, unfiltered confession, I want to send a heartfelt thank you to everyone who's subscribed to this channel. Your support keeps this platform alive. If you're new here or have watched without subscribing, I truly appreciate you too. I can't wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It's the fuel that drives this story engine. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and your feedback shapes the stories we tell next. Now, let me take you back to how it all began. My name is Ava. I'm 37, a white housewife and freelance graphic designer living in a peaceful Texas suburb. My husband, Ethan, is a good man, reliable, predictable, an IT project manager who loves spreadsheets more than he's touched me in the past 3 months. Then there's Caleb, 6'3", dark chocolate skin, muscles straining the sleeves of every shirt he wears, living 2 houses down with his teenage daughter. His wife left him years ago. I always found him handsome, the quiet neighbour mowing his lawn shirtless, occasionally waving at me while I watered my flowers. Our fence had been crumbling for weeks. Ethan kept saying he'd fix it, but the man barely had time for dinner, let alone repairs. One Friday morning, while sipping wine on the back porch, I saw Caleb walk by, wearing old jeans and a sleeveless shirt soaked in sweat. He pointed at the fence. I noticed this collapsed. Want me to help fix it? I nodded too quickly. My voice stuck in my throat. Yes, thank you. That'd be great. That afternoon, I changed into a sundress that fit just right, slitted enough, clinging a bit tighter to my hips. I told myself it was just to stay cool in the heat, but deep down, I knew I wanted to be noticed. The first hour was innocent, bringing him lemonade, laughing at his dry jokes, watching his arms flex with each hammer swing. I caught myself staring. He caught me too. You okay? Ava, he asked, wiping his brow. Hot, I replied, unsure if I meant the weather or him, maybe both. When he stood from kneeling, our eyes locked. The moment was silent. No birds, no wind, just heat. His gaze was bold, like he was undressing me right there in the open. And I let him. I could use a break. He said. There's shade behind the fence, I offered. No one goes back there. I led him behind the fence, out of sight from the street, the houses, the world. My heart pounded like a drum in a marching band. He stood inches from me, and I felt his breath. He leaned in slowly. I should have backed away. I should have said no, But I didn't. When our lips met, it wasn't gentle, it was fire. My back slammed against the fence. His hands slid up my thighs, my sundress offering no resistance. No words were spoken. His body was hard, ready. As he pushed my panties aside, he moved with control, like a man who knew exactly how to make a woman surrender. I felt him stretch me, filling every space I didn't know I had. I clung to the fence, moaning, gasping, as he thrust deeper into me with each push. I'd never been taken like that, not even by my husband. It was alive, electric. When he came, I felt every pulse. I was shaking, soaked, ashamed, satisfied. We stood there, breathless. No words, just heavy breathing and racing hearts. I went home, panties stuffed in my purse, thighs sticky with betrayal. Ethan came home that evening, kissed my cheek, thanked me for reminding Caleb about the fence. I smiled, nodded, pretended everything was fine, but it wasn't. Deep inside, my body still felt Caleb, and I wanted to feel him again. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt the fence pressing into my back, heard my moans as Caleb filled me, tasted the guilt sitting heavy on my tongue. My thighs still ached, not just from what we'd done, but from how much I wanted it. Worse, how much I still wanted more. I lay beside Ethan, my husband, his back turned to me as usual. He fell asleep early after dinner. Too tired to notice I lingered in the bathroom, standing under the shower for over 30 minutes, legs shaking, scrubbing myself raw, hoping to wash the memory away. But nothing cleansed me of Caleb. The next morning was too quiet. Ethan left for work early, dropping a kiss on my forehead. I pretended to sleep. It was easier than lying with my eyes open. As soon as the door closed, I rushed to the mirror. I looked at myself, naked, still flushed, faint bruises on my hips where Caleb had gripped me tight. My neck still tasted of his sweat, sun, and shame. I made coffee but couldn't taste it. I cleaned the kitchen twice. I tried reading a magazine, but every word blurred behind one thought. What if it happens again? I told myself it was a one-time mistake, but my body said otherwise. By noon, I was staring out the window, watching Caleb rake leaves near his porch. Shirtless again, his skin glistening under the sun like bronze dipped in oil. He caught me looking. I didn't look away. Then he smiled. I knew what that smile meant. That afternoon, I went outside under the excuse of checking the fixed fence. He was already there, pretending to check the wood. "You missed a spot," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He turned, his eyes stripping me bare. "No," he said. "I didn't miss anything. Maybe you came to see if I did." My throat tightened. I wanted to say something smart, to pretend I was in control. But I wasn't. He stepped closer, his fingers brushing my elbow, and I nearly fell into him. He leaned in, whispering low. "You want to talk about what happened yesterday?" I nodded. But we didn't talk. We ended up in his garage, hot, dark, smelling of oil, wood, and man. He pushed a workbench aside like it was feathers. I sat on it without being told. My sundress lifted again, like it remembered yesterday. He knelt between my legs, and this time, he kissed me slow and deep, like he wanted to taste every inch of my sin. When he stood, I reached down, unzipped his jeans, and pulled out what had ruined me the day before. Thick, dark, powerful. I wrapped my hand around it, slowly lowered my mouth, watching him bite his lip. I sucked him until his hands gripped my hair, until he gasped my name like it was the only word he remembered. When he came, I swallowed it all. The shame came back the second I wiped my lips and stood. "Ava," he whispered, panting. "What are we doing?" I couldn't answer. I just kissed him once and walked away. That evening, Ethan came home early, carrying tulips, my favourite flower. Guilt slammed into my chest like a brick. He said, "Thought we could go out this weekend, just us. Maybe light a spark again." I smiled, lied, said it sounded great. That night, we made love, or he tried. He was gentle, soft, lasted 5 minutes, asked if I came. I lied again. I kissed him, rolled over, and cried silently into my pillow. In that moment, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't just having sex with my husband. I was comparing him to my neighbour, and Ethan could never measure up. The next day, I avoided Caleb. I knew if I saw him again, I'd give in. I focused on work, folding clean clothes, ironing without need, scrubbing the kitchen floor until my knees ached. But the harder I resisted, the stronger the pull became. Just when I thought I'd survived the day, there was a knock at the back door. I opened it, and there he was, shirtless again. "You left this at my porch," he said, holding up pink lace panties I hadn't even realized I'd lost. He stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, closing the door behind him. I backed away, but my body betrayed me. When he kissed me, I melted again. After that, it wasn't just a mistake, it was a pattern, a secret second life. Each day, I sank deeper into this affair. My bed belonged to Ethan, but my body craved Caleb, every moment wrapped in his arms. The guilt thickened in my chest like tar. I knew it was only a matter of time before the truth broke everything, because this filthy secret was never meant to stay buried. It was a quiet, ordinary Tuesday morning, the kind of day no one expects to end in disaster. Ethan kissed me goodbye as usual, but this time, something about it felt different, like he knew something. Or maybe I was just paranoid because I'd become a professional liar. Every smile was fake. Every dinner I served. Every goodnight kiss. Every moan in bed, all wrapped in deception. My real passion lived beyond the fence, under my skin, in my soaked panties every time I saw Caleb. I told myself it was just sex, that it meant nothing, that I still loved my husband. But that was the worst lie of all. Around noon, I heard a soft knock at the kitchen door. That knock was familiar. It woke every nerve in my body. I opened it, and there was Caleb, standing with no smile, no teasing, just a serious look on his face. "We need to talk," he said. I stepped aside, and he walked in, standing near the sink, rubbing his palms together like he was nervous. I'd never seen him like that. "I can't keep doing this." "Ava," he said, "you're married. This is wrong." I should have nodded, agreed, ended it right there, but instead, I stepped closer and whispered, "Then why does it feel right?" He grabbed me and kissed me hard, like he was angry at himself for needing me. My back slammed into the fridge. My fingers tore at his belt. I moaned as he slid deep inside me. No forgiveness, right there in my kitchen, on the floor, with the curtains open. It was the dirtiest, most reckless thing we'd ever done, and I loved every second of it. As disgusting as it sounds, I lay on the cold tile, half naked, panting, legs shaking. He pulled up his jeans and said, "This has to be the last time." I knew he was lying. I knew he'd come back, and I knew I'd let him in. We were past the point of no return. That evening, Ethan came home with a strange look in his eyes. Not angry, not suspicious, just cold. He asked, "Anything interesting happened today?" I froze for a second, then shook my head. "Just chores." He nodded, his eyes still locked on me. "Ava," he said slowly, "do you remember the security cameras I installed last year when we thought someone was stealing our packages?" My heart stopped. I'd forgotten all about them. He continued, "I checked the footage today, just to try it out." The silence was deafening. Then he asked, "Want to explain why the neighbour was in our kitchen for over an hour?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. He stood up, walked to the living room, and came back with a flash drive in his hand. "I saw everything," he said. "Everything." I couldn't breathe. My knees buckled, and I collapsed to the floor, sobbing. "I'm sorry," I whispered. He cut me off. "You did it more than once. Don't insult me with apologies." I reached for his hand, but he pulled back. "I want a divorce." The days that followed were a blur. Lawyers, silent dinners, cold nights. Ethan moved into the guest room and eventually stopped speaking to me altogether. Caleb disappeared. He stopped coming out to his porch. His garage stayed closed. His house dark. He'd gotten what he wanted and left me in ruins. Ethan moved out soon after. I lost everything: my marriage, my dignity, the only man who truly loved me because I couldn't resist what was forbidden, because I let lust blind me, because I drank too deeply from Caleb's body and drained my own life. Now I sit alone in this quiet house. Every creak in the floor reminds me of the love I destroyed. Every glance at the fence reminds me of the man who ruined me and the woman I let myself become. And if I could go back, would I do it all again? That's the hardest part. I still don't know the answer.